So I am here with my best buddy, friend, pal, co-creator for a long time now, Kathy Mason. And Kathy Mason Works Marketing has introduced me to so many fabulous people with gifts that are so unique and powerful. And I've actually taken a class with David Maria and found it very, very powerful. So I'm going to turn it over to Kathy to introduce our dear friend, David Maria. And thank you everyone for being here. And please put comments, questions in the chat until you're invited in, should Kathy invite you in for group discussion. Have a fabulous hour together. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Noel.
Thank you. Okay. So as Noel said, we are very, very, very fortunate to have one of the people that I consider one of my teachers here today on Co-Creators Global Village. David Maria teaches a class called Freedom from the Known, not the unknown, from the known. And I think, well, I'm about to take my third time of taking a class, because not only is the class remarkable and David's connection to all that is remarkable. The people that are in the class, the community, are remarkable. So I almost, every time I had a conflict, I was heartbroken that I couldn't be in community with David and the class. So David, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Kathy. As always, you know, you and I get together on a fairly regular basis, and it's always a joy to be here with you. And I'm really glad to be here to be able to share with everybody today too. And if I might just comment, that this is something that has come to me maybe in the last 6 months or so. I no longer think of myself as a teacher.
Too bad.
Because that entails a teacher and a student, and therefore there's some kind of dynamic relationship there.
Yeah.
I just think of myself as somebody that shares what it is that I know. And I wish I could remember his name, because I've used this statement quite a bit recently. There was a famous Sufi teacher that stopped teaching. And somebody eventually, and he stopped because he fully self-realized who he was and remembered. And somebody asked him why he quit. And he basically said, who would I teach?
Well, okay, so I think we've had this conversation, and of course I went straight to teaching because I consider it a class. But what I want everyone to understand, and hopefully David will give you insights into his journey to this, is the portal that you are able to access is a quantum field that most people on Earth have not accessed yet. It's available to all of us, but we are still running programs, thoughts, emotions, whatever you want to call it, our trauma dramas that are blocking us from being the expanded self. So you are a portal to that. And your voice is what got me. I want to explain to everybody the way I met David is I heard him being interviewed and I burst out in tears because I'd been asking, how do I hold more light? How do I put more of my soul into this vessel? And then I heard your voice and I knew that was how I was going to do it. So I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart with the work that I've done. I'm not the same person after 2 classes,
I know.
two expressions.
You've done the work. You didn't expect that I was going to fix you.
No.
You didn't expect that I was going to solve all of your problems. Because what I'm able to do through my presence is I'm able to connect directly in the moment of a class, of a group situation. And this is a class, this is a group situation. We have a lot of people that are watching right now, is that I'm able to connect directly to the I Am presence. This is not unusual. This is not special. This does not make me unique. That just means that maybe I'm a little bit farther down the path than some people. And that comes through. And through that transmission that comes through, I'm able to move energy with you or anybody that is in the class and be able to give you some breathing room, if you will, for your conditioning to fall away or to subside in that moment. And now you can begin to remember and experience who you really are. There's nothing that I'm going to be able to give you or anybody else that makes them different. It just helps them momentarily to remember who they always have been. That's the most important thing that I think I can say, is that when you remember, you realize that this is who you've always been. The door has always been open. It has never been closed. And then that is the gift that I can give to and share with you and with others. But now, once that gift has been given, it's up to you to determine what you're going to do with that gift. And if you do your work, if you continue to work on surrendering and letting go of your conditioning, whatever it might be, whether it be trauma, whether it be guilt or shame or remorse or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It all amounts to another story. Then you begin to transform yourself. You take over in your old process. And don't misunderstand me with this. I'm still cooking.
Yeah, I understand. That's what I was going to say, is that David has access to this, but when we do these deep meditations, David's surprised at where he goes as well. It's like, this isn't, when you take a course, there's 11 sessions. And when you take a course, usually the instructor has a curriculum and has exact, interaction and testing and everything. This is not like that, you guys.
No.
This is an experience. Is it okay if I just tell them the first class that I did? I just want to, I've had white light experiences. I've been doing this work with amazing healers for this is my 22nd year. So I was surprised that after the very first class that we did, my very first time on the Freedom from the Known class, that after the meditation, all I could do was sit out on my back deck for 5 hours in the sun. And it felt as though I was being defragged. It felt as though things were leaving and rearranging in my essence. It wasn't painful. It wasn't frightening. It wasn't debilitating. I mean, I was still in my body while it was happening. But it was quite remarkable. And I was shocked. I was shocked that that could happen with all the work I had already done.
You've already done.
So could you, for the people that are new to you, could you tell your story a little bit? So, and I'll put you on full screen so people can really learn and understand. Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, it's okay. So understand that I'm not enthralled with the story.
Well, I know, but it helps people relate to you.
So in 2018, in December of 2018, I had a major dream that in which I was called to go to Africa. What I now know is that not only was I called, but I was also sent. So yes, I was called to go to Kenya for specifically for the annual prayer walk that circumambulates around Mount Kenya or Kirinyaga. But and I was sent there to be able to meet them, and but also to bring what it is that I hold, what it is that I carry inside myself. And subsequent to that, there has been an extremely deep friendship that has developed between myself and the 12 seers that are in Kenya. The Kikuyu people of Kenya live around Mount Kenya, and in their tradition, there have always been 12 seers. Originally, all 12 of those were women. And then with the advent of the last age, which we're currently leaving, when it switched to patriarchy, they became all men. There are now women seers still growing and coming into it. They haven't arrived yet, but they are here. I've met one of them and had major dreams about it. And then this last year, and the journey to Kenya was absolutely just miraculous, because it was a last minute. I don't think I heard about. I think I had the dream like maybe 10 days before leaving, and Christmas time is really popular all over the world for Kenya, as people are on Christmas vacation and they come there for the safaris. So it's last minute plane tickets. I didn't have the money. One of my friends, without my saying anything, him and his wife called me and said, we just got the message that you need to be in Kenya and we want to buy you a plane ticket. And multiple miracles, just one after another, that just overcame obstacles at the same moment that I discovered it was an obstacle. So this last year, I journeyed there with a good friend, and I was inducted and initiated as the first ever white person or Caucasian person, but also the first ever 13th seer in this tradition. There's never been a 13th seer before. Many people knew about this and knew about it well in advance. A Hopi elder came to visit with my brother Samuel Kamitha, who's my main contact there with the seers. Came in 2021, and he brought a series of icons that were exquisitely and intricately carved bones that were representative of all the 12 of the seers. And when Samuel showed these to me, he showed me all 12 of them, and then he got this very childlike, very sweet smile on his face, and emptied the back out again, and another one fell out, and said, and then there's you. And they didn't really, I don't know how deeply they really understand who I am, but I'm intimately connected with them. And it's been such an utterly amazing journey. Of course, many, you may not know this, but after being initiated, in this 2 days later, I developed COVID, which was the really serious Delta variety. I ended up being in the hospital over 18 days. While I was in Kenya, I died 9 times and had multiple traveling experiences. And I knew at the moment of the initiation, I'd already made the internal decision, I'm not leaving. So when I say that I died, what I was really doing was just traveling, because I now had all of the barriers were now removed to my ability to travel wherever it is that I wanted. Not a lot of people knew that at the time. And my friend that I was traveling with, I'm sure did not have the world's most pleasant experience while going through this. But the dying experience is really, really actually extremely wonderful. Most people that have had a near-death experience will tell you this, because what happens is that when you, if you just completely die, all of your condition drops, all of your conditioning just falls away, and you are who you have always been. And you get to experience the phenomenal bliss and joy of being who you really are, which is an emanation of God. We all are, and by an emanation, I mean we are. That's all of creation is just God. It's just the self. So when you die and you come back, what happens is, depending upon who you are and how many belief systems you have, do you come through a tradition? Do you come through a Christian tradition or a Buddhist tradition or Islamic? It doesn't really matter. It impacts the amount kind of conditioning and belief systems that you have going on internally. For me, a belief is something that limits you. So when you come back, depending upon how much you are able to surrender to that experience completely, then what happens is that whole layers of your conditioning just fall away. And as those layers fall away, it just reveals who you've always been, who you have always been. And it allows the energy of source, the energy of the creator, the energy of creation to come into you. And depending upon how you receive that, how you surrender with it, it just allows you to expand into that and continue your journey of remembering. Because personally, I don't think it ever ends. We're just barely beginning to understand who it is that we really are.
Okay.
That was pretty long-winded.
That was great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so your website is called the Eden Template. Could you talk a little bit about the Eden Template and about the diamond?
The first time that I went to Kenya, when I met Samuel, I was traveling with two other people at the time, Beth Courier and Teresa Lutnager, and they had also been called. And after the initial, we went to the initial prayer vigil, which circumambulates around Mount Kenya. It's like, I don't know, it takes 7 hours to drive around the mountain. It's so big. And after meeting him, he said that he was going to give us a blessing. So he did. He gave Teresa one and Beth one. And then when he came to me, he heard that still voice inside and said, no, give him everything. And it was like literally like being struck by lightning 3 or 4 times in the course of a few seconds. And over the course of the next few days, everything started to change dramatically because it had begun to open up. And we were in, with our driver, Owen, we were in one of the national game parks down near Nairobi. And I had this experience of a transmission coming in. And the way transmissions come in, for me, I can't speak for anybody else, but they come in just really quickly. And then they unfold and you unpack them and you see what's in there. But the reception of it is instantaneous. And what I received is the Eden Template. And even though it has, I've adhered to the core of it in the transmission is constantly expanding and bringing in new pieces. What it essentially is lately, how I'm referring to is it's a soft Kundalini awakening. I've tried not to use that word, but for years, but it's not working. So it's soft Kundalini working is opening is how I'm referring to it now, because it's very gentle, but it is a restoration. It's opening up the current at the base of your spine, and it's a restoration of your original contact to your soul from the moment that it was first created. And as the energy of that begins to open and flow through you, and eventually flood through you, and I do mean flood through you, it begins to alter everything about you. It begins to restore all of the DNA, all of your genetics, all of your physical components that you have used to create the body that you're in. And remember, you're not your body. Your body is a holographic projection of your consciousness.
Yeah.
So depending upon how many layers of conditioning, whether that be familiar within your family or cultural or national or religious, it doesn't matter what it is, we stack these layers upon us, we forget, we tend to forget who we are. Just look at the difference between you and a child, because a child hasn't forgotten yet. They remember. They come in and they may have patterns going on when they come in, but they remember that connection. So the Eden Temple is designed, or what it does is it alters the chemical response, the cellular response within your body begins to change the neural patterning in your consciousness, in your brain-mind connection. It begins to open up and restore dormant neural connections that have been shut down because of our conditioning. Sorry, Kathy knows that I'm still somewhat, even though I'm clean with COVID, my voice every now and then still goes out. It's probably one of the weaker things about my COVID experience, because I went through long COVID for the last 3 months. So it's been a journey. So I apologize for the fact that my voice gives out every now and then.
Well, you also, I think, are still getting comfortable with explaining all of this, because it's out of our vocabulary. And
that's not what it is. I can talk about this all day long.
Oh, okay.
As long as the voice works.
Okay. So David, one of the things I wanted to ask, it seems that so many of the way showers back to our divinity have had difficult lives, difficult emotional experiences. And why do you think that is? Why do you think, because if you would talk about your childhood, you've been candid in our classes, and when we've talked before about something else popped up from that, or a new scene showed up and you realized you could resolve it now. So why do you think that is, that you were gifted with that human experience this time?
Well, I may have a slightly different perspective than you do, Ken.
Of course.
So from my perspective, when we take birth, we're the ones that make the choice about what experiences
Right.
we wish to have, or what things we wish to be able to go through and clear. So I experienced a full quadfecta of abuse, of violent physical abuse, and mental, emotional, and sexual abuse from a wide. And it's unusual, because one of the reasons I do like to talk about it is that because from the outside you would never have known. I grew up in somewhat of a middle-class American family, but the undercurrent, the energetic undercurrent that was seething, if you will, running underneath, oh dear God, it was so horrible. But on the outside, everything looked just really fine. You know, we were well fed and clothed and housed and everything else, but emotionally, not so much. So from my perspective, and I can only speak to my journey, not to another's. One of the reasons that I came into this family was to end all of that. So I had brothers and sisters. They had equally strained and horrible experiences. Some of them handled it really beautifully. Some did not. Some turned out because of what happened. I turned out in spite of what happened. I used what happened eventually, not initially, but eventually as rocket fuel to be able to transform myself. But initially, not so much. I was lost for years in drug abuse, just self-medicating just to cover up the pain that I didn't even know was there,
Right.
because I couldn't feel it, but it's still driving you subconsciously. One of the great outcomes or benefits of doing this, of having gone through a journey like this, is that this deep understanding, this deep knowingness comes over you that this is the human condition. This is the human condition on the planet. Almost every, I don't think I've met very few people that are not experiencing trauma of some kind.
Right.
To whatever degree that it is. Having gone through it, and mostly, I'm going to stress the words mostly, come out the other side. Occasionally, something arises still, and when it does, you work through it. But this incredibly deep sense of compassion comes to you, because everybody is on this journey. We're all walking. Like Ram Dass says, we're all just walking each other home.
That's right.
I am where I am on the journey of that coming home, and there are gifts that have been given to me or that have emerged from the inside, and it doesn't matter who that I meet. You love everybody. Because the very essence of connecting to source, of connecting with your I am presence, of knowing who you are, and that essence always has been, is just love. It's just love.
Right.
And I don't hold myself out as a healer. I think I'm completely incapable of fixing anybody or changing them, but I can help guide somebody through the journey. I can help move their energy field enough in a specific moment. Oh, that they can catch a deep breath and they can go, oh, I remember. I remember. It's like the story of Peter Pan with the Lost Boys when he first goes back. If you've seen the movie with Robin Williams, when the one little boy grabs Robin by the face and starts, moving his cheeks all around, and then all of a sudden he goes, "Oh, there you are, Peter," and he remembers. I'm not going to reach out and grab your face.
I hate that. I had an Uncle Ben that did that. Well, what you have done though is help strip away aspects so people can remember, because that's what I've experienced taking the classes. And the other question I wanted to ask, so people understand about the Eden template, is that your logo on your website has a diamond in it. And I think when you first started working with me or sharing with me, you talked about the Pleiades putting this device into the or into the sky that was could be used for harm. It was used for good, but it could be used for harm. And then the seers are bringing that energy back and bringing that tool back for us, for humanity. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
I don't remember the comment about the Pleiades.
Oh, okay.
To be perfectly honest, the first trip that I made to Kenya, when we were at the prayer vigil, what I saw was that and there's lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of souls that are here right now that were in Atlantis and are specifically here to be able to reclaim the gifts that they brought through at that time frame, but also to not make the same mistakes. So one of the things that happened in Atlantis was one of the major shifts to power over instead of power with, which power with is love. And when that happened, the master crystal that was in Atlantis was the people that were the downfall of Atlantis were trying to get that crystal, because if it could be weaponized, then it could be used to destroy dimensions, and that was never going to be allowed to happen. And that crystal was sealed away dimensionally, was moved off of this plane so that no one could access it. And among the many, 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 and I'm stressing plethora of people that were there that assisted in doing that work, they all put the codes to unlock that crystal into their DNA. So lots of people were called to go to Africa in 2018. I happened to be one of three that did go, and we carried that DNA in our codes. So just walking on the earth released those codes into the ground, and the crystal was unlocked, and it came back into this dimension, at least in terms of its energetic stream. And when it happened, it sent out waves after wave after wave of creation energies, replenishing the earth in a continuous stream. And so that's basically what you see when you go to my website. That's the vision that I had while watching this happen.
Okay. Thank you. There is a question also from Allison. How would you describe your Eden platform for us to understand it better? Is it related to the Garden of Eden?
So the Garden of Eden could be referred to, and realize that now I think of it as locationless. The Garden of Eden is a state of consciousness. So the restoration of your in connection to your original soul template from the moment that it was first created, when it first came into being, that is the Eden state. And when those connections are opened and restored, and that's part of what the first class in the Freedom from the Known course is actually all about, is opening that circuitry and traveling cellularly to the place inside of you where that Eden template exists, and expanding in it and opening it and bringing in new energies, opening new neural pathways through your neural net, which is your brain-mind connection plus all of your nerve, the nervous system along your spinal column. And it restores that as a state of consciousness to you. And from that place, once it becomes fully integrated, and I cannot speak to how long that will take, that's a very individualistic process, because as the energy begins to move through you, it starts to align your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies to where they come into finer and finer degrees of alignment. And that can happen just like that. It may take a week, a month, a year, 2 years, a decade. I can't speak to that. It's different for each and every person. But I can say that as that happens, well, cellularly, you're changed at so many levels as this deep love just flows through you and floods you, and as this phenomenal peace that you've always heard about exists. You become it. It's not something that is outside of you. You literally become it.
Yes, that's why I was trying to explain my experience was as though you were releasing things you had no idea were running in your field. It felt like what I imagine a computer defrag felt like something was gone and then something else went. So
I would say it's more like you took your hard drive and recycled it by putting it through the shredder, and you no longer need
it
it.
was very pleasant. It wasn't frightening. It wasn't as awestruck as a white light experience, a spiritually transformative experience. It was calmer and gentler and more kind. And the other thing to let you know, Allison, is that once you take any of the classes from David, you get the recording afterwards. And what happens is you can go to a much more profound, deep experience with repetitive listening. And that's a huge gift.
And that's actually going to be part of the homework assignments this time. So,
Oh, really? Okay.
even though I've offered the Freedom from the Known course 4 times now, it has shifted quantumly.
Yeah.
After this last experience that I had of the initiation, and its subsequent complete cellular restructuring by going through COVID, which was perfect. It dovetailed perfectly with the initiation. Lots of new components have been added. There's going to be in this particular one, there will be a deeper connection to the earth herself, to the elements and the elementals, to the phase. And we're going to do element refreshing, if you will. And we're also going to do individual homework. We're going to do a lot of conscious work on neural reprogramming your subconscious and super subconscious minds.
Wow.
To be able to eliminate those.
I'm
not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. You're going to do it.
I know. I mean, I have this usually before I do an event or a big class, I have this trepidation, like my body knows, like you are never going to be the same. But somehow with your stuff, it has been a peaceful journey. It has been something that as I said, I'm sad if I miss the live class. I have the recording, but I'm sad if I can't be in community with you and the others. There's something just amazing about this expression that I want to encourage people to experience. David did 2 free sessions, one on the 15th of April and one on the end of April or first part of May. Is that right?
Yes.
And the May one blew my socks off. That was more powerful for me than the April one. But for people that are new to this experience, can they find all of that on your website?
Not really, because it literally is a meditative experience. So
no, I mean the recording, it's on Vimeo, but is there access to any of the free recordings on Vimeo on your website?
No, I usually limit that to attendees.
Okay.
Because it is a meditative experience, and I want people to go through the experience. I'm not. It's not hidden. It's not anything like that. It's just that it's a participatory experience as you go through it.
I'm just trying to have them have an experience, a taste.
Just a taste. Okay. So,
well, that's, for the people that are, some people have to hear people's voice to know. I knew as soon as I heard your voice.
I understand. So let's just take a moment. And if everybody would just close your eyes.
Oh, okay.
And begin to center yourself and come into your heart. And do your very best to come into the body. And remember that don't be concerned if you have difficulty with this, because most people are not in their bodies. So I'm 76 now, but it wasn't until I was 72 that I actually celebrated a birthday by being physically present in the body, because it had never been fully safe. And many of us experience that. But it is safe to be in the body. So just come into your heart. And in the very center of your heart, and you may have to go through layers to be able to arrive at that center. But when you're in that center, it is still, it is quiet, it is peaceful, but it's also a conundrum, because even though it's quiet and still and peaceful, it's an active stillness. It's a dynamic stillness. And if you sit there for just a second and then feel there is a thread or a neural pathway, if you will, from that center, and only from that deep center, that runs directly up from your heart through your crown and connects to your I Am presence. And this is really who you are. And once you connect with that, the breath of the I Am, which is pure love, begins to flow down into your heart. And as it flows to your heart, it then emanates to the entirety of your body. And then, if you would, bring that all the way down to your feet, all the way down to your toes, and wherever you are, it doesn't matter if you're in an office building or in your home or you're actually on the land, but just see yourself standing on the earth and feel that. And then let your feet sink under the earth up to your ankles. And in the bottoms of your feet, there are actually eyes. Just like you have a third eye in the center of your forehead, there are eyes in your hands and your feet. We're going to open the eyes in your feet. And the moment that you do that, you're able to see the entire elemental world. You can see the mycelium network that runs through all plants on the planet. It runs even through the desert areas. You're able to experience the Fae, whether they be an earth elemental or a water or fire or air. And because everything is alive, everything is connected to everything else, nothing is outside of this network of energy and consciousness, and with conscious communication going on. With experience and practice, you will be able to communicate with individual Fae, with individual elements, whether they be a gnome or an air sprite, or a water sprite, or a fire elemental. It doesn't matter. You'll be able to feel the energy network that is the sustaining grid that surrounds and maintains all of Gaia, all of the earth. And be able to know that you are a part of that chain. You are a part of that communication. And not only a part of it, you're integral, because you are a unique piece. Each one of us has a unique energy that we bring that is our contribution to the overall grid here on the planet. And your conscious participation with it is what is helping us make this transition from the way the world is now into the new age. And I'm not a new ager, but we are moving into the age of Aquarius, and it's going to be much different than what we've experienced before. There's no more power over. There's only the power of love. So just feel that, and when you're ready, then you can just begin to come back to your heart. Come back into your body. And when you're ready, just open your eyes.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're
I
welcome.
didn't know you were going to do that. What a gift.
A surprise is always fun.
So one of the questions that's here from Dr. Tom is, he says, thank you, David, thank you for sharing your own recovery story and being so healingly transparent. I love this work, and not lost on me that so many of us here are ready for this message, so to speak. I'm curious, what are your favorite ways of speaking to people who aren't already in the choir? How do we have the kindergarten conversations with old-time physical scientists and 3D people who don't yet speak scalar and vibration?
Well, everything is energy. Everything is energy. And the energy is here to serve you. It's here to follow your intentions. And all I can say is that it's to date, and I'll qualify this, to date, it has been my experience that not everybody is ready to take these steps. Some are, some aren't. There's no blame in that. We're all in a different place in our journey of remembering, awakening. I much prefer the phrase remembering than awakening, but that's just my personal. I have had people come to the classes that have written me and said, I've taken the class 3 times and I'm still depressed. What's wrong with you? That somehow I wasn't able to fix them. But I'm unable to fix somebody. It's not my path. And I don't have the ability, nor would I want it, to override somebody else's path. That everybody's journey is their journey. And when somebody is ready, and I know everybody has heard this, that whenever you're ready, a teacher will appear or a guide will appear. It always happens. It's cosmic law. It's divine law. The moment you are ready, then assistance or guidance will appear in that moment for you. Whatever it is, it could be through meeting somebody like me or somebody else. It could be a non-physical guide or teacher that comes to you. You know, it doesn't really matter what the path is or what the mechanism is that it is. So. And realize that language, from my perspective, is really cumbersome. It's really limiting, because we don't really speak with words, we speak with vibration. That's one reason that I really love to be able to have classes to be able to offer and share with others, because it's not what I say. It's not the words that I say. It's the energetic transmission that comes through. Yes, there is always some form of guided meditation as part of every single class that I offer. That's just a given, but the essence of them is the transmission that comes through. And some people, I've encountered people here that have taken some of the classes, they've received the transmission and it comes through like it did for me, just instantly. To where when the class was over, then they said, could I have received the entire thing in the first 2 seconds? And that's exactly how it comes through.
Yep.
So
Yep. Yeah, it's all in divine order.
that may be a frustrating answer, Because if I knew how to be able to translate everything for everybody, I would probably be a lot more well-known in the world than I am now. I have no idea what it is. I don't know how to yet. I currently don't know how to translate what it is that I offer and what comes through me, to be able to step it down, if you will, to the level of somebody that has no exposure or experience to this, or has a really fixed reality, a belief system going. Normally those are through some kind of religious channel.
So yes, I think what David also, if you are in one of the classes, or if you go to his website and you see the language that's used, this is really going to meet you wherever you are. So if you are interested even a little bit in expanding and reconnecting to who you really are, this will meet you. And I don't think it can overload you. I mean, 5 hours in pleasant contemplation was fine for me. Unusual for me to sit still for 5 hours. But anyway, but I think that what we're saying is that this is the time that we're all being called to step up, to turn the boat around, to turn the ship around, to bring this love energy and awareness and consciousness into action. That's what World Unity Week is about. That's what Co-Creators Convergence is about. All of this is geared towards us showing up and being examples of how to be luminous, loving beings.
I love Elizabeth Wood. If you know Elizabeth,
Yes.
I love her statement that we're becoming homo luminous.
Yep.
And the transition that we're currently making is as big from Cro-Magnon to Homo sapiens is into homo luminous. It's the transition that we're going through, which is oftentimes referred to as the transfiguration.
Mhm.
It's immense. It's immense. None of us are going to recognize who we are 5-10 years from now. It's inconceivable the amount of growth that not only we, but the entire planet is going to experience.
Wonderful, wonderful.
And knowing that this was the only date that you could get me into this particular piece, and the offering for the Freedom from the Known course, the early bird registration has already expired. That was on the 18th. So for everybody that's watching, that sees this broadcast in whatever means that they are, I created a new code during registration, and it's just Unity, all in caps.
Okay.
And it will allow you to come in at the early bird price. The course is $888, but if you use that code, it'll be $666.
Great, great. So
This is the only place that you'll know about the code, though.
okay, so I'm having trouble copying and pasting in the thing, so I will type it in. .com. The freedom from the known. That's what was amazing, is it wasn't the unknown.
Oh, we're gonna journey deep into the unknown.
Yep.
It's an amazing journey to be able to let go of everything that you know and everything that you think about yourself and who you might be, to just completely surrender and allow yourself not to know.
That's
Even though one of my friends, Wanda Vitale, jokes at me, says, "Oh yeah, David knows everything about everything." I really know nothing. But there is a presence, and that presence brings information.
well, you have access to the field of awe that's different than most people. That you do. You're a portal to the divine. So to creation. So
And-
that's the gift.
And that's just a reminder to everybody of who you are. What you remember Sri Aurobindo, somebody asked him, how should I treat others? And his response was, there are no others.
That's right.
There aren't. There's literally just one of us here.
Yes. Yeah.
Everybody is the self, and we're all dreaming to what level that we're dreaming.
So perfect.
Myself included.
Yeah, that's the one thing that you'll see with David as a teacher is there is no hierarchy to all of this. He's also expressing and growing along with the group. So that's the beautiful part of it. There's not a lot of ego or ceremony to anything. It's all of us all walking each other home.
Yeah, it's definitely true. So
Great. Well,
I got nothing to hide on. I'm still walking this path, and as flashing back to the 60s and the Grateful Dead, one of their songs, sometimes the light's all shining on me.
yeah.
Other times I can barely see. So
Yeah. So many of those songs are revealing truth that we really are starting to understand and embody what those mean. And the light that's being shown on the whole universe, this whole part of our solar system, at least, is being hit with more photonic energy. So all of the shadow is being illuminated and can be released. So
shadow and dark is just a place that we haven't gone yet and shown our light. There's nothing, there's no boogeyman in there.
Yeah, that's right. Well, the shadow has potency in it because it's trapped energy. So if you integrate it, you can use that energy in alchemy for other uses.
Well, look at the large way that the dark is made out to be a booga booga. So even if I'm not a biblical scholar by any stretch of the imagination, but even in Genesis, the dark is created before the light.
Right.
It's the firmament, it's the foundation, and it is conscious. It is conscious, just like light is conscious. It's just a different level of manifestation and emanation of it.
Yes. So David, we're out of our time. I apologize because I could do this forever. Joy Rezer said, thank you, Kathy and David, for a remarkable interview. I loved every word of this. And Joanne Palladino also said that, thank you so much. David is a lovely soul. So
thank you. And I truly hope to see more than a few of you sign up for the class. You can sign up almost till the last minute. First class begins this Saturday at 11 on Pacific time.
yeah, I got to get my stuff together.
You just go to my website, theedentemplate.com. On the homepage, there's a picture of the Freedom from the Known course. Click on it, and it'll run you through all the information about what it is.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. And we are to the end of the hour. So thank you, David. Love everything you do. You know I do. And I'm so excited about what's coming next.
It's truly gonna be fun. I'm really excited about it.
Yes.
So thank you, Kathy. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So David, I'm going to take you off camera here, okay? Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll talk
Thank
again
you so
soon.
much.
Thank you. Love you.
Bye.